What's up, y'all? Welcome to Free China
Okay, you
Pod.
just didn't finish that sentence.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Free China Pod. How's it going?
Well, you didn't finish the sentence. I'm just gonna keep harping back until you finish it.
I forgot what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
You bitch.
What's up, dude?
Hey, this is another 2 week gap.
Nonsense. I potted this Wednesday by myself. Surprised you didn't know that.
2 week gap for our pods.
Well, I'm gonna try to do more little updates. They are hot, and I put them on YouTube too because I do I like show the news articles and stuff. It's very very nice. I think my GUI work is pretty fire, if I don't say so myself. And by that I mean I just open up a browser window. So, you know. So you're welcome, folks. 2 podcasts in less than a week span. What's going on in the news, buddy?
Lots of little stuff. Anything big right now? Big thing I saw today was about the that civil war in Ethiopia is heating up. Now they're trying to the Tigray Liberation Front or whatever they're called are now basically trying to take the capital. They're considering moving in and taking the capital, which is interesting. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Tigray Liberation Front, I believe that's what they're called. Whatever, that party, that ethnic group, and that political party specifically is the same political party as Tedros, the current head of the WHO, and they're now engaged in a civil war against their government and possibly going to take out the democratically elected president.
Yeah, there was allegations of ethnic cleansing last year against the Tigray people too.
Against the Tigray.
Yeah. So it's a whole mess in Ethiopia right now.
Yeah, I feel like Tedros should maybe step down and take a little time to deal with his personal affairs.
Yeah, I don't even besides this, I mean, he should have stepped down a long time ago. Along with Fauci.
Yeah, how is Fauci still in?
You saw that poll I sent you the other day, right? That a majority of Americans think that he should resign.
Yeah, but I don't really care what Americans think anymore.
Well, I mean,
democracy's dead, Jordan.
I tend to agree with that, but like it's still significant. But yeah, of course it is. I mean,
You're telling me the majority of Americans believe that believe in conspiracy theories about Kennedy's assassination?
Well, that's kind of. I mean, it's like over 50%. It's not like it's like 90% or something. It's like around a little over 50%. Just they say it's not that they don't believe everything, they just don't believe the official narrative.
Which means they believe that there was a conspiracy.
Not necessarily.
Why would there be a false official narrative if there wasn't a conspiracy?
Well, maybe they just didn't. I mean, okay, they didn't release all the facts. I mean, there's maybe some conspiracy, but that's not unprecedented by any stretch of the imagination.
It just goes to show that, let's just say, the majority of Americans are special.
I don't think so. I think that's pretty not fair to say, especially in that case. I think it's a pretty muddled story. I also don't think that the CIA or the FBI are particularly forthcoming. I mean, literally, Joe Biden.
But yet we believe them on everything else.
I don't. You might.
Okay, the same Americans who would not believe them on that do believe them on, like their assessments that Russia interfered in the elections or 9/11. The people are very good at picking and choosing which things they believe from the intelligence community and which things they don't, based on absolutely fucking nothing. There's no basis. Why would they believe this and not believe something else? Why would they believe that the COVID vaccine is not a massive way to put chips in all of us, but they would believe in this? Like, there's no rhyme and reason with conspiracy theories, and that's the whole point of it.
People who just willingly believe in them. But I mean, if you're actually looking at conspiracy theories, so-called, like, I think that there is. I mean, you can do evidence and see where like things don't necessarily line up, or there might be like at least seemingly missing evidence. It doesn't mean that they wholeheartedly believe them or they have like an alternative that they totally believe. They're just saying they're suspicious of the official narrative.
Yeah, but
which
what
I think
you're
is totally
doing
fair.
is being suspicious of a narrative is not the same thing as saying that you do not believe the government's position on something, which essentially delegitimizes the institution, which I'm not saying is right or wrong. I'm just saying I don't know I think that the way people pick and choose which conspiracies they believe and don't believe is obviously completely not based on fact or people's independent ability to verify any of this information. It's just based on feelings, which is what America's come down to, is a democracy based on feelings.
I mean, in general, you're definitely right. Most people do just believe based on feelings, but it's not just like about conspiracies. It's about everything.
Yeah.
Everything is about feelings.
Yeah,
But
which is frustrating.
yeah, for sure.
Bitcoin,
But
the
yeah,
stock market,
There's
Elon
been-
Musk.
there's been a lot of Bitcoin scams going on, which is always funny to see.
Oh, you mean like Tesla?
Well, it's hilarious because recently
You
I was
like that?
I was gonna I talked about this on the stream that I did, the podcast that I did about the Build Back Better stuff and how it's, speaking of overwhelmingly popular, but obviously we don't have a democracy anymore. The whole most of the things in the Build Back Better stuff that they stripped out were overwhelmingly popular. But in that, one of the things they stripped out was a tax on it was, I think, the top 700 richest people in the United States that they were proposing. Obviously got canceled because President
You're canceled.
President Joe Manchin and Vice President Kristen Sinema, it got cut out. But Musk was screaming about it, like losing his mind. He's like, if they tax me, they can tax you too. Talking to like all his stands. It's like, motherfucker, we pay our taxes.
Talking to who?
He was talking to all his little stands on Twitter. Like,
I don't know what a stan is.
a stan is like someone who like
Like
really
in
loves
Afghanistan?
someone's. Yeah, exactly. Like a little Afghanistan. Just a big non-cohesive group of people that all support like a really dumb person.
Okay. Well, I think that Elon Musk should just admit that he's an apartheid tool and go back to South Africa where he fucking belongs.
They should bury him in a fucking gym mine. Hell yeah.
I also don't like these weird acronyms and things made up on Twitter.
Well, you don't like new language. You don't like that language is a fluid thing as opposed to like set in stone.
That's right. I believe that language should stay the same.
It's because Ari is a ivory elite.
It's because, well, living in Taiwan, I'm just watching all of the languages around the world disappear because English just gets bigger every fucking year because we're just making up new words as we go.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with
It does.
making up new
does.
words. It has to do with the fact that they're imposing English on everyone as opposed to people that speak English learning other languages.
I mean, I was having this discussion yesterday, and I think that English is actually a better lingua franca than things like Mandarin in Taiwan, honestly. Like, I don't see why Mandarin should ever have been the lingua franca, and that's why the DPP is essentially trying to delegitimize it.
As you expand these out to more and more people, they're also going to develop in and of itself. You're going to get new words and new slang and things like that. So you can't
Gross.
you can't complain about both. I mean, you can, but you look like a dummy.
Complain about which two aspects do you think are contradictory?
I think as you expand the number of speakers, you're obviously going to get new slang because you have new groups of people with their own unique perspectives that are adding their own little pieces to these languages. As we have
I don't think
as we
that's
have
good.
new experiences and create like new technologies and all these things and
Yeah,
have these
creating
new
new
phenomenon.
I agree with you. Like, new phenomenon for a new... If something is genuinely new, of course there needs to be a word for it. The phenomenon of a stan, that is not a new thing. That's something related with, like, some weird social network that, like, in 10 years will be probably not
It has
online
nothing
anymore.
has nothing to do with the social network. It
So
comes from an Eminem song.
What is it? It's, oh, okay. I
Yeah.
know that song.
Yeah. It's just what it comes from. It's just slang. I mean, there's always been slang. You listen to for criminy sake, Ari, you listen to freaking drill music. Think of all the slang they have in there. Not to mention the difference.
Never heard it before. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even think it's a real genre.
Ari almost did a knife attack last week. That's how much drill music he listens to.
You're talking about that fishing knife we have.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. We don't need to incriminate you.
I was going to say something else about Elon Musk before I forget, which is that...
That he gets most of his money from the U.S. government. Yeah, which is funny because him calling for that he shouldn't pay his taxes when he takes the majority of his money from either straight up U.S. government money or U.S. government programs that they've created that he takes advantage of is quite laughable.
Yeah, you basically said what I was going to say.
He's a cuck. I talked about that on the Wednesday pod too.
Well, I wouldn't know because I wasn't involved.
Well, you
I
also
wasn't
wouldn't know
involved in its
because
production.
you don't listen and you don't support me, Ari.
I have been trying
Hashtag
to
sad.
finish that Joe Rogan podcast with the...
Oh yeah, Joe
the
Rogan
world's
is
strongest gay.
much more important than me, isn't he? You
I
just
just
Joe.
assumed that there's no update, man, because I wasn't.
You've
Why
replaced.
would I check
You've
it?
replaced me with another
Replaced
incredibly
you.
strong.
You've replaced
handsome,
me with
bald
your left
man.
hand.
I didn't replace anything. You weren't here, Ari. You weren't here in my time of need, so I did it myself. With my. Right now, did you hear that the EU delegation is in Taiwan right now? Actually, they may have left, but they were
I
here
saw
from
that.
Wednesday to today.
That's pretty cool.
They're also talking about, well, and Joseph Wu, the foreign minister from Taiwan, was in Europe last month.
I believe it's pronounced woo.
Joseph Wu! And they said that they're thinking about setting up or using Taiwan as a hub against disinformation in Asia.
What they should really do is start the transfer of nuclear weapons.
Good luck,
Be like,
bud.
we're gonna create new offices in Taipei that will have 2 people working in them.
It's one man with a computer and one man with a floppy disk.
Just another expat that's going to be massacred when the soldiers
Don't
come over.
We don't need any more expats here. I can deal with new immigrants.
I can deal
but
with new nuclear weapons.
I can't deal with more expats.
Yeah, I like that distinction that an expat I think would be a short-termer and an immigrant would be somebody who intends to stay long-term.
Expat
immigrating.
Expats, what I hear when I hear expat sounds like
Temporary work assignment.
a person who doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know anything about Taiwan, probably like gets a Taiwan tattoo when he's drunk one night, spends most of their time inebriated, and is awful at whatever job, aka the only job that expats do in Taiwan, which is English teacher. But it's also interesting that we don't call the Southeast Asian foreign workers expats, because all of them are short term, besides ones that get married.
Typically, when we use the word expat, it refers to like a skilled laborer, and I think most of the ones from Southeast Asia, if you look at the industries they're in, they're mostly doing unskilled labor. They're mostly doing
most of them. They're
home healthcare and factory work.
Yeah, some of them. I mean,
So you
is
more call them
is teaching English at a bushiban skilled labor?
in Taiwan. It requires a university
It
degree.
requires a
so
university degree, but I don't think it takes any. I shouldn't say it doesn't take any skill. Doing it well takes a lot of skill. But what most English teachers do here is not skilled.
You could argue that, but legally here it's considered
I know.
a white collar job.
I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is, I think it's
If it wasn't, then neither of us would have permanent residency right now, bud.
it's true. It's true.
Because
but
migrant
I'm just
workers are
saying.
not eligible after 5 years, but white collar workers are.
Yeah, which is
So you think you're lucky stars.
I think people that want to like actually become part of Taiwan should be given pathways to citizenship regardless of where they're coming from.
I tend to agree with that. I think that Taiwan, I'm not sure if people are over the ethno-state idea yet.
No, I don't think they are. Because, I mean, we had this conversation, over a year ago on the podcast with Abby. And she actually seemed to be somewhat over it, but a lot of people I've talked to are not. It's like, what would it take to become Taiwanese? And it's basically like you would have to have like 2 generations of kids. Then those kids could be considered Taiwanese. But
Yeah, especially if they bred with Taiwanese people.
no, that's the point. Yeah. It's not like you have like 2 Vietnamese immigrants come here and have like 2 generations of kids.
It's interesting to forget that even the Han majority here, they're technically migrants too. Everyone migrated here at a different time.
Yeah. Just remember, folks, everyone's an immigrant.
What a leftist thing to say.
Just kidding. Labels are stupid. It has nothing to do with the left.
Yeah, labels are stupid. But that's how our dumb ape brains work, so it is what it is.
8 brains.
Oh, I have another piece of Taiwan news which I thought was interesting. That there's a math teacher in Taiwan on
Pornhub.
Yeah, on Pornhub. You heard about that too.
I literally saw that story just
How
before
is
we got on
everyone
here.
hearing about that? Like,
It was on. I think I saw it on Focus Taiwan, but it was on one of the major news sites, one of the major English news sites.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. But apparently, like, he's gonna start introducing some kind of adult content into those videos. So it's not like right now it's purely math, but later it won't be.
What is the square root of a...
I don't like that anti-trans language.
I'm gonna have to bleep it, so now it sounds like I am being anti-trans. That's messed up. Don't do that to me, Ari. Don't do me like
But
that.
you can bleep out the anti-trans comment too.
Now I'm gonna have to bleep like 6 things.
trans. What do you think of the new Joe Rogan podcast with the world's strongest gay?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was interesting too.
The thing I wanted to hear more about is like the weightlifters' escapades into countries that are like seriously like homophobic or literally have like.
Yes.
I mean, he talked about it a little bit, but Rogan is kind of schizophrenic in the way that he talks sometimes. And like changes the subject too much. I also thought it was weird that he asked him about trans. I mean, he's in the LGBTQ community, but he's not transgender. This weightlifter.
Not what the T is. He refers to himself constantly as being in that community. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you like understand the plight of someone.
Yeah, but you could say that about any. You could say that about like that a trans man doesn't understand the plight of a trans woman.
For sure, no,
like
exactly.
You can always kind of undercut that. He identifies himself as part of that community, the LGBT, with T being trans in there. That's self-identifying as part of that community. You're part of the community, but it doesn't mean you understand that specific plight.
I know, but
I get asking the question, but I think if you want to have like a real conversation about it, have a trans person on. I'm sure Joe Rogan could get a trans person on his podcast.
I wonder, because he was saying that it was very difficult for him to even get the world's strongest gay on there. I forget his name, that's why I keep referring to him that way. What's his name again?
Was it hard for him to get him
Matt
on?
Sheeran.
Matt Taibbi.
He was saying that he got a lot of flack from the community, that they're like, I can't believe.
Oh yeah, he said he got.
Do you know
flack.
Joe Rogan is an I was gonna say anti-Semite.
He's been on there twice though. Rob Kearney is his name.
Go ahead.
I think he got flack, but like I said, he's been on there twice, and
what I'm saying is that it's not that easy to get people, especially when people are so like sensitive lately. Everyone's sensitive. If there's a trans person,
true,
like,
but
he's a transphobe. I'll never do that.
Well, there's a lot of trans people that are not like terminally online.
I don't know. I've never met a trans person, so I don't know where you would. I guess he's got a publicist. I don't know that many. I know a lot of gay people.
I'm positive he could find someone. I mean, I knew trans people back in university.
I didn't know any.
I mean, I didn't know a ton. They're a small part of the population. It's just like saying like I didn't know like a ton of gay people, because gay people are a smaller portion.
As somebody who works in the service sector, I've met probably like tens of thousands of people, and I've never knowingly met a trans person.
Yeah, knowingly is a big part of that though.
Yeah, knowingly.
Also, when
an out trans person, like somebody who identifies and speaks out about their trans identity.
This is something we should think about. I went with the guy who we're going to go out with tonight, the one that came here earlier. I went with him to a transgender bar. All the workers there, minus one who's a gay guy, all of them are transgender. So I was like talking to them about like what it's like in Taiwan. It was interesting. It was really interesting. They're all trans women, but maybe I could get one of them to talk to us.
That sounds kind of cool. I've spoken wrong. I've never met them in Taiwan or the U.S. I met a whole bunch in Thailand. Thailand is quite common.
Yeah, a lot of the Taiwanese transgender women that I talked to said that they went to Thailand to get their surgery. They're not all like full op. Like some of them just had plastic surgery, but the ones that had surgery said that.
I'm not a big fan of plastic surgery.
Well, you do what you want to do. That's my thing. As long as it's not a problem for you and you're not addicted to it, I think it's okay. It's just like tattoos for me. Like
we had this conversation about it.
Yeah, we did.
My nurse friend.
Yeah, we did.
And I would say she is addicted.
I would say she's addicted. I say she has a problem. That's different.
But everyone I know who's had plastic surgery, it never stops. It just, you do it until you look like Michael Jackson.
I've definitely had. I wouldn't even call, not a friend. I know an acquaintance, a friend of my old good friend who is my roommate, and she did like go down the rabbit hole. But I've met a couple people in university that didn't. They just had like one like slight change of like their nose or something. So it does happen.
For
but
cosmetic, I should say I have one friend who had a congenital defect.
Oh yeah, that's that's different. I think.
Yeah.
When it's like.
But people who do it for like purely aesthetic reasons, I feel like they have a hard time stopping because they realize that it's not like the most difficult or painful or risky thing to do, and they're never quite satisfied.
I think that's true in a lot of cases, but like I'm saying, I like with a lot of things, I don't like to blanket statement because again, like I said, I've met people that have just gotten one, and it's been I mean, I don't know that they'll never go back to it, but it's been like over a decade.
I'm just talking about like people.
Yeah. I know.
This is my
This is
personal
anecdotal
experience.
stuff. Yeah.
So I'm not making blanket statements. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I guess I'm not a big fan of tattoos either. I have nothing against people who do either of these things. I'm just like, I don't know. It's not for me.
If I was more
That's fine.
impulsive, I would have a lot of tattoos. I think tattoos are sick, but yeah.
I think they look cool on some people.
Well, it depends what you get and how much thought you put into it, how
Totally
good the artist
agree
is.
with that.
Like,
But I
there's
would
so
say
many
that the
things.
majority of them are of questionable quality. And
I would say, again, depends somewhat on the artist. There's a lot of trashy tattoos, but there's a lot of trashy.
yeah.
There's a lot
There's
of trashy everything.
people.
There's a lot of trash out there, but but I think that's fine too. I think if you like your tattoos, then more power to you.
I mean, I got lots of friends with tattoos.
I have really good friends with tattoos. Okay, so when I call these tattoo people, when I call them tattoo slurs,
I did
then
not say a tattoo. I just said I'm not a fan of it.
I don't think there are any tattoo slurs. I'm just making
One of
a
my
joke.
best friends has.
Yeah,
tattoos.
that's the joke I was trying to make earlier. 'Cause
Actually, I think
I was talking
except
trash
for
to you earlier.
I don't think I have any friends who don't have tattoos. Like friends, like my girlfriend doesn't, but I don't think I have any friends actually who don't. Besides you, a single one. No, that's not true. Whatever.
I was gonna say
Just the ones I'm thinking of.
I think I could think of some.
Yeah, there's some. Never mind. A lot of my really good friends.
Yeah,
I'm not just gonna start naming names. So like,
Let's hear first and last names, Ari, and middle names if they have them. I want date of birth and social security numbers.
yeah, a lot of them. I'd say more than half have tattoos.
Yeah, a lot of people have tattoos. It's much more popular
Like
now.
are covered in tattoos, not just like have like one.
I suppose so. For me, I would say less of my Taiwanese friends have them.
Our North Korean friend,
Yeah, our North Korean friend definitely has a
he's
lot.
got a lot. He's addicted to tattoos.
But his girlfriend or his wife doesn't have any, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, she's very untattooed. I was going to say very clean-skinned, but that sounds weird.
She's got very
I sound- I sound like Buffalo Bill.
I don't get the reference.
Uncultured swine.
I'm obviously just joking. What did you say about Enes Kanter? I just want to know what you said, just so I can mention it too.
I mean, he's being very outspoken about human rights, basically. I mean, in the thing, there's the old trash truck. In the podcast I did on Wednesday, basically, I just talked about how he's kind of started speaking out. I believe initially about Tibetans, and then
Well, the first thing was about Turkey initially.
oh yeah, okay. So that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
It started, and then because he's Turkish,
Right.
and then
A Gulenist, for
Yeah,
anyone
he's
who
a-
doesn't know.
Gulenist. It's still close enough to Halloween to make that joke, right?
It's a very sick joke.
and then I believe next was Tibet,
Yeah.
and then now Hong Kong. He also made Uyghur shoes, like East Turkestan / Xinjiang shoes, and talked out about that.
That kind of makes sense, considering that he's Turkish, because they have this kind of like linguistic bond or whatever
Well,
with Uyghurs.
I mean, if you're talking about human rights, I mean, I think all those are all related to the CCP and their human rights violations.
He's
I
ballsy.
wonder,
He's ballsy, but from
Oh, for sure.
my inside connection says that, like I told you before, that he's, let's just say, not the brightest crayon in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what that means.
Let's find out.
And I think
let's ask him on the pod.
Yeah, I think he needs to come back on the pod. He's been on the pod before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we should have him back on the pod and pick his brain about that. Because, I mean, we were talking about this on the way back. I don't expect celebrities in general, but athletes as well, like to not be. I don't expect a ton of intelligence out of them. Sometimes you'd be surprised. I mean, there are some
LeBron.
really, really smart.
Like who?
Um,
Name me 5. Name 5 smart athletes, Jordan.
Name 5 of their songs.
I don't know. Good question. I don't know.
Oh hell yeah!
But I've seen them before. Like, I guess especially college athletes. But I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm not a big sports ball guy, so. But I've heard some athletes give talks before where they were
Babe Ruth.
very well spoken. Babe Ruth strikes me as a really dumb guy, like alcoholic, always smoking cigars, Probably just doing nasty stuff all the time. Ari and I are having a sign language off right now.
The people listening at home, I pulled up a picture of Babe Ruth and we're analyzing him right now.
Very handsome. Very handsome,
Speaking of cigars,
but a degenerate. Speaking of cigars, we gotta smoke that Cuban.
I never gave you the puzzle. That's what I was gonna say. I gave you the. I shared it with you. But
You did, yeah.
You never made your guesses.
No, I didn't.
I'm not gonna give you his big ones though. If you get any right. If you get any right.
It's fine. I need to look back over those quotes.
I'll give you 5 guesses for each of the names.
Okay.
That sounds fair.
I'll
right?
have to look. Yeah, I'll have to look over them after I figure them out. I think we should put them out on the podcast and see if
Okay.
anyone can respond.
Some of them are
No cheating. though.
very difficult.
I feel like all of them are very difficult. I'd have to look
Oh,
over
hell
them.
yeah.
I'd have to look over them again. There's no way I'm getting them. Even with 5 guesses for each, I'm positive that I'll maybe get one.
If you only get one, I'll get a nice one and we'll share it.
We're gonna share the other one anyway, so it's all right.
If you get multiple, get the cheap ones.
That's okay. I'm fine with that.
Those are so bloody expensive. I never told you. I think I did tell you. I thought that the price for one was the price
Oh yeah,
for the box.
for a box. Yeah.
And she's like, okay, $25,000. I'm like, wait a second.
That seems wrong. That's insane, man. Yeah, that's wild. Anyway,
24,000.
24,000, 2,400.
No, 24,000 for the box.
Oh, for the box.
Yeah, for the box.
I was like, for one.
No. I won't tell you how much one is, but you could probably.
I can
do a little
surmise
Bathic math.
close enough. Do you say Bathic math?
Basic math. Maths.
Quick maths.
I was watching I don't know if you watch chicken shop date show. It's a YouTube thing.
No.
It's kind of silly. It's like this girl. She goes on like these fake dates with these drill rappers. She's like this blonde like English girl. And just it's really awkward with like these. Some of them are like grotesque drill rappers, like wearing their masks and shit to the chicken. Yeah.
What?
And they're like having like a normal date. It's really interesting. And she like broke out now. She got like Ed Sheeran on, and they were talking about maths, and I was thrown off. She's like, "Are you good at maths?"
I don't like that British people talk the way they do.
Well, I don't stand by those comments, folks.
You don't have to. And I mean,
I don't even like using the word British because the British Isles have so many different accents inside of them. I would not say there's a British accent. I wouldn't say there's anything close to a unified British accent.
I didn't say accent though. I said
the way
like,
British
the way
people
they
talk.
The way they talk.
I like the way some of them. I
like
love Scottish
no,
accents.
I like the accents sometimes. I don't like the way that they use their words. Maybe I should be a little more accent.
Let me ask you this: what's your favorite accent in Great Britain?
In the greater UK area, my favorite accent.
Not the UK, just Britain. So no Irish.
Just in Britain?
Yeah, just Britain.
What about Northern Ireland?
That's not Britain.
But what about Southern Ireland?
That's why they call it Great Britain and Northern Ireland
What
on
about-
the passport.
What about the Eastern? What about Eastern?
No part of
Ireland?
Ireland.
Just kidding. Just joking. Yeah,
You got me.
I might go with Scottish.
Scottish is cool, man.
Yeah, it was one of the first accents I learned to do because I watch Austin
let's hear it.
Powers, which is very.
You're gonna do an Austin Powers live right now. Yeah, baby.
No, that's not because it's not him. It's Fat Bastard on there. Because I used to think he was like so. Because I was like 10 years old or whatever when I first saw
His
it. So
accents,
I
I don't
thought
know
it
if
was
they're
so
good even.
funny.
Mike Myers is like a weird Canadian guy.
Oh, he's very weird. It's very weird. But like that's a perfect movie for like a 10, 12-year-old. It's just nasty, raunchy humor. And it's just like
crude.
them doing like a lot of like weird British humor that like you
Lot
think
of
is
butt jokes.
really funny. Like they do the British speak where they're like, "Hey, we don't be apples and bays" and all this stuff, and like
don't remember
I didn't
it.
know like what any of it meant.
I haven't seen it in, I would say, probably like 20 years. But I used to like it when I was a kid.
Same. I haven't seen it in a long
We
time.
can rewatch them.
What is the? Yeah, what is it? What's a Fat Bastard line? He's always talking about eating mini-me.
I'm gonna eat
Yeah, I'm gonna eat ya. I have to like hold on. What's it, how does it?
It's a very body shaming movie.
Yeah, it's very offensive.
Just kidding.
Get in my belly. What else?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so bad.
I was watching It's Always Sunny, and they're like, one of them is giving Max shit because he like keeps doing these references from movies, but it's always either Borat or Fat Bastard. Those are like the only things. It's always
That's
like,
all he knows.
it's very nice, or like, get in my belly. Those are like the only two lines he knows.
That's probably the only lines I know from Austin Powers anymore. I always like to say it's great. I like to say that a lot, which is kind of Scottish. It's like a bad Scottish accent. Let's hear your Scottish accent, Ari.
I'm not gonna be offensive to Scottish people, so I'm gonna pass on that.
I think not doing the accent is more offensive.
Then why don't you put Daniel's podcast on and we can hear a real Scottish person? Post it, Jordan.
I will.
Okay.
I have to edit it though. It's like over 3 hours long.
You know that camping trip took place like only 9 months ago.
Well, he's not Scottish. And first of all, how many podcasts have you edited in the last 9 months, Ari?
Half of one?
Fucking zero.
Half of one.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Half of one. I've edited in the past 9 months probably about 150. So we're close.
Okay. Fine, I'll do Scottish. What do you want me to say? Give me something to say. Not something too difficult. It's gonna take me a minute to get into it.
You got to get in character. Method actor, Ari.
Because
over here.
I gotta you gotta rearrange the way you orient your mouth in order to do an accent. Well, I feel like you gotta close your mouth in certain parts and open it in others.
That's true. That's how speaking works.
That's true. That's true. That's how speaking works.
There you go. Not bad.
Speaking works. Works. Yeah, that's better.
Works. I've been reading The Boys, which has been made into a
Hardy
TV.
Boys. you're talking
Yeah, the
about.
Hardy Boys. Yeah. About the gay twins.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't. No, it's called The Boys, and it's been made into a TV show, which I haven't seen, and I've heard mixed things about. But anyway, it's about like superheroes if they were real, and like how horrible it would be.
I hate superhero movies, so let's just
That's
stop
the-
this conversation.
Oh, it's a comic book, so
I hate comics. Just
comics
kidding.
are great. If you don't like comics or graphic novels,
I like some of them.
it would be hard. I don't
They're
know if
too
we can be
slow.
friends.
I honestly still prefer books because I like to use my imagination. I like the art sometimes, but I feel like the amount of effort that it takes to fill in all those pages and the amount of effort that it takes off of me makes it less worthwhile to read the whole thing.
How many graphic novels have you read?
Not many. I've read V for Vendetta and I've read like a whole bunch of the Walking Dead compendiums.
V for Vendetta is good.
I liked it. It was nice, but if it was, I still preferred the movie, which is rare. I usually prefer books.
How about Watchmen?
I've never read it. I know you've
I
said
have-
good things.
I
about
have
it.
yeah, it's
I know,
good.
But I don't have time.
It's better than the movie. That one is
Barely
better
have time
than
for
the
this
movie.
podcast.
Well, you're full of it, but okay.
I mean,
Anyway, my point in saying
value
that
my time.
my point in saying that, getting back on topic,
No.
is that there's a Scotsman, there's like a French guy, and then there's like an East Ender. And
Talking
so,
about Austin Powers?
no. In this comic book, you dummy, this is in The Boys, and so like I like try to read it in the accents.
No.
Yeah. In my head, but
The
obviously
London
I don't
accent
know.
is the one that I hate the most. It's
Which London accent? The East End,
any London accent.
like a Cockney accent.
Any accent like south of Manchester.
Ari's a fucking elitist.
Except for Welsh accents are interesting. They can be frustrating at times, but like sometimes I really enjoy them.
I was showing my students videos of like really thick Irish accents. I know they don't count, but
You're close to American, I would say.
well, the really thick ones are not. The really thick ones are like it's like unintelligible.
And
It was-
what's different than an American accent that makes it unintelligible?
It's similar. I watched an interview with a guy from the hills of West Virginia recently.
Mhm.
It's similar. It's not similar in how it sounds, but it's similar in the difficulty to understand what they're saying. There's a lot of slang. There's like really weird tones
That's not
and
an
stuff.
accent, that's slang.
Well, it's also the accent. The accent is hard to understand.
In what way though? That's why I want to know specifically.
I don't know if I can put that into words. I mean, I can show you videos of it, but it's like, I don't know. It's like nearly unintelligible in some of the videos.
I'm curious why. Because for me, I would say that the Irish accent is much more similar to the modern American accent than the UK accent is.
That
because they
depending
have
on which
non-rhotic R's.
depending on which one, but yes.
Like a Dublin accent, like a modern classical Irish accent.
Okay, that's fair. But this is like these accents that I'm talking about are like old people.
Yeah, they're probably like native Irish language speakers.
I'm sure they probably are.
I think that man has a speech impediment. I don't think that's the accent.
There's like a number of these people. I think they might not be non-native speakers, but that's what I'm talking about.
That to me doesn't sound like a strong accent. That sounds like gibberish. That sounds like that they basically found someone who could barely speak intelligible English, and they're just like, "This is what an Irish accent sounds like."
I think some of it is also because of the, like the nature of being like in such a rural area. Sometimes you develop these kind of like local dialects almost. Like I was talking about, I was watching these like videos. There's a channel called Soft White Underbelly. This guy does like interviews with like just like the forgotten people of America. So he does like with like gangbangers. But where I got started was he does this interview with all these people that are like this inbred family.
Ugh.
From like I think it's in Virginia. But then I watched another one with this guy who's like a mountain man.
Mm-hmm.
He's just lived in the hills like all his life. He said he lived in Chicago for a couple years, and he was in the U.S. Army for a little bit in like South Carolina. But like most of his time he's sent out there, and I could understand everything he was saying. But like there was you have to like really listen. Like if I was not paying attention, I would have like not understand all of it. And I looked in the comments, and there's just people like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's saying. I don't know what he's saying. And like
it's weird because in the Army, I feel like he would have been discharged or not
he's drafted.
Oh, and who's in the Vietnam War?
A Korean War, I believe.
Then he's fucking ancient, man.
He's old, yeah. He's
in the Korean War, he's like 80 or 90.
Yeah, he was 78 at the time of the interview, which might have been a couple years ago. Yeah, he's old, but he wasn't like old and decrepit. He was like in pretty good shape because he like lives and works like in the hills. So I don't know.
78.
He was pretty
must
spry.
Be an older video then.
I think it was maybe 2015. It wasn't super old, but it wasn't like.
It'd be 78.
Korean War was 50 to 53.
Yeah, which means he was born in the 1930s, which would put him in his 80s.
Yeah, I think he said he was 78 or slightly over 80.
Okay.
But I mean, you can. I used to have a neighbor in rural southeastern Nebraska that was in his 90s and was like he talked slow, but he could still talk intelligibly.
Right.
I'm
not saying that I'm not saying that old people are by nature unintelligible.
I think you're being a little ageist right now. I'm just kidding.
Old people over time they lose some of their like tactile feedback in their mouths that makes it more difficult for them to enunciate their words.
For sure. No, absolutely. That's definitely true.
Look at our landlord. Holy mother. That dude. I mean, Mandarin is like probably his second.
Yeah, that's another part of it.
Language, but talking to him is like talking to a broken tape player. It's very frustrating, and I feel stupid talking to him because I have no idea what he's saying. Like, I know the words, but the way he says it is just not like a normal human being. Like a broken tape player would replay something.
It's not like a normal Taiwanese person that we interact with commonly, is what I would say.
And it's always old people that have that really jagged, difficult to understand pronunciation. I
wonder how many languages he's like learned. Like he probably might still speak some Japanese.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Old. No.
You don't think he's that old?
I think he's probably. I would say he's probably like 80 something, which means that he was. Okay, let's say he's 80. If he's 80 right now, he was born in 1940, which means that like he was 5 years old at the end of World War II.
That's fair. If he's 8,
which means he received no Japanese education.
He's pretty old though, but that might be fair.
Yeah. And he's probably not 80. He's probably like 70 something.
I'm not sure. He's like that old age where it's like hard for me to tell. And he also exercises. Like he rides his bike and stuff. So like, I'm not sure. I don't know.
He's a weird skeleton man. Let's just put it at that.
He's very nice. He is like very unaware of his surroundings though. The funniest thing I remember is
you talked to him about you say he's nice, but you were not very happy when he talked about raising the rent.
Oh no, of course not. I don't like that at all.
for on the record, okay, we pay $120 a month for a 3-bedroom house, and he wants to raise it to $150 a month. And Jordan,
I don't like to pay more money.
sorry, no, he's raising it by, what do we pay? 112,
Depends
and he
on
wants
the
to
price
raise
of
it to
inflation.
yeah,
Or not,
the exchange rate.
The exchange rate.
He wants to raise it from $112 a month for a 3-bedroom house to let's say $22.
Well, part of the reason I'm frustrated
Like-
with that is because when we moved in, this place was a shithole, and it's still a shithole, but I fixed it up.
He's never been back.
I
inside.
put a lot of fucking work into this house.
He has no idea about that. And
Well,
I don't think he cares either.
I don't think he cares either, but that's a little bit frustrating to me. That being said, of course, I'm not like incensed by it. I'm just like a little bit frustrated. It's like I put a lot of hours into like fixing up the rooms and making this place not such a shithole and cleaning it up, blah blah blah.
Still a shithole.
Like nailing the ceiling back together in the bathroom. I spent like multiple hours fixing like the broken ass toilet we had. I like refinished all of the walls in both of the main bedrooms. So, you know, I would appreciate if at least for a year he'd be like, all right, yeah, we'll waive the rent for a year. I painted everything, all right? Not waive the rent. I mean, waive the increase in rent. Of course, I don't expect to get a free year of rent, but you know what I mean. Anyway.
He's poor and he's an old man, so like I think I understand what you're saying, but I think begrudging him the extra like $18 a month.
I didn't say I'm gonna do that. I'm just it doesn't make me happy. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm not gonna be like, woo, yeah, I get to pay more money to you. But no, I'm not gonna like scream at him or anything. I'm not even gonna fucking say anything to him. I'm just gonna complain to you because that's what we do. You're my therapist, Ari.
That's true. Me and you guys, the audience at home,
That's right.
who listens to his screams in the late night. One thing I because we adopted a dog recently, and by we I mean me and my girlfriend, not Jordan. Is
I wasn't involved, folks.
heart guard, because we were talking with the neighbors here, and apparently heartworm is like a major thing here.
Yeah.
Heart guard. I knew. What is it called? What is that magical COVID drug called?
Oh, did you get the dog on ivermectin?
Ivermectin. Yeah, I knew I had seen ivermectin, and I knew I had bought it before at some point. I didn't realize that heart guard was just straight ivermectin.
Oh, is your dog a fucking horse, Ari? Is your dog a horse? Huh? Is that why you're feeding him that? Is that why you're giving him horse dewormer, Ari?
It's interesting. I didn't make the connection, so I thought that was kind of interesting. That's like it's actually a drug that I've been exposed to. Having dogs, like I would say, probably more than half of my life we've been raising dogs.
Yeah.
You like dogs?
I love dogs. Yeah, better than cats. I like cats. I like them more now, but I still prefer dogs.
I used to hate cats when I was young, and now I like them, especially when they're outside. I like outside cats. That cat that hangs out around here and scares away the mice, I like that cat a lot. He's very chill. I like chill cats. Basically, I like cats that are kind of like dogs.
Well, that's racist. Well, the New York mayoral election.
Did you hear about the Virginia gubernatorial election?
No.
Well, in a +10 Biden state, the Democrat lost because they basically ran on like calling their opponent Trump and trying to fight against CRT as opposed to actually doing anything.
What does CRT stand for? See, these acronyms drive me crazy, man.
My name's Ari and I can't learn anything new even though I love learning. Oh, complain.
I like learning new things, but like, let's just stop with the acronyms.
Critical race theory.
Oh, okay.
Because the Republican basically pushed really hard against critical race theory, which is a complete straw
CRT is an
man.
existing acronym, so this is why it throws me off too. A cathode ray tube. If you're not aware of what that is, go back to the 90s.
A cryogenic ray transistor.
CRTs are what powered all TVs before LCDs. So anyone who's ever used a TV in your entire life that's not an LCD, you should know what a CRT is.
Okay, boomer. Okay. Just kidding.
I'm 22.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just more examples of the Democrats doing anything, or it's another example of the Democrats refusing to actually do anything, and then literally right after I saw Don Lemon blaming it on Bernie Sanders. blaming on Bernie. That's what they said. Oh,
Blame Bernie.
it's the progressives. That's the problem. It's the people who actually want to give people like solutions. That's exactly why they're going to blame the losses in these midterms that are coming up, because the Democrats are going to get swept. They're going to get just absolutely demolished in the midterms, and then they're going to say
don't care
It's the
anymore
leftist. It's
about
the
these
leftist.
rat races. I think that until the Democratic Party should not be together. I think it needs to break up.
I
As
think
much as the Republican Party does, and until that happens, I just don't care anymore.
I think it's
It's just a rat race.
I think it's fun to pay attention to, but I
It
think
used to be. It used to be fun.
I
for
think
me,
it's-
but I no longer find it fun.
I think it's interesting, but it's also frustrating. But I think what is more important for people, if you're in America and listening to this, pay attention to local races. I think your local races have a much bigger impact on you, and the National Democratic Party is pretty much gone. I mean, if you have a candidate that you can vote for that you think is going to actually push for good worker first policies, please do that. But other than that, like, it does nothing to like watch anything besides FCP and just like lament the fact that like the Democrats are selling you down the river. I mean, that's all it is. They're just going to keep selling you out. So stop caring. Stop giving these people lip service. All these like blue wave MAGA people are driving me crazy online just defending Biden.
The most progressive president since FDR. Whoa! He totally cut out the whole bill that was going to help people.
It's like
That's why I've gotten
forget
off
it.
online, folks.
I've gotten off online. I've gotten off.
Which is why I had a big fight on Instagram today.
That's why you've gotten off online, Ari.
This dude was claiming. I said that China is not Marxist,
attention to my jokes.
and then he said you're on the wrong side of history, inshallah. Like, I was like, wait, so you're a Marxist and an Islamist? Like, how do you believe in a like an economic political theory that is requires atheism and yet still talk about like by the grace of God? Like, how are those two ideas compatible? It's just like you're spoiled. Like, what the fuck?
There's definitely a non-zero chance that that is either Russian or Chinese misinformation bot. So I would ignore it, bud. You're wasting more time paying attention to that than you would be paying attention to like
I should just read my
mainstream
books.
democratic politics. Yeah, I would say you're probably better off just reading.
Deleting Instagram.
Bye-bye.
I need to stop responding. When people just say like really dumb political stuff, sometimes I just can't help myself.
Yeah, I mean, but you're the only time I think you'll ever change like someone's mind online is if you like go into their DMs and have like a thoughtful conversation, which 99% of the time even that is not going to like happen because
Agreed.
it will devolve into ad hominem attacks almost instantaneously.
My favorite. So that's why I just like switching to ad hominem immediately just to
You
shame
should just get a sock puppet account, man, and just go in there and just start fights. But I think that's also counterproductive because it just digs people deeper into their holes. That's why I don't fight with people online anymore. The only people I dump on is people in power. Average people, I think, deserve
Enes
love,
Kanter.
and compassion. People in power deserve
Enes
to be dumped
Kanter.
on. Did you call him Enes Kanter, Ari?
Yes.
Anus counter.
Bigot.
All right.
Anti-Semite.
I can't find anything else.
All right. We'll get out of here. All right, y'all. We love you.
I already stopped.
Well,
it.
are you serious?
No.
Fuck you, Ari. Love you guys.
Nah,
Talk
stop
to you
it.
soon. Make sure that you go check out the Patreon, patreon.com/FreeChinaPost. If you can't do that because you don't want to get all the cool free stuff, please do go over to the website. As always, we got all kinds of goodies on there as well. You can
Now
go
it's really stopped.
disable your ad blocker, and if you see any cool ads that you like on there, you click on those. Another thing you can do is please go to the YouTube and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. I've been doing a lot of stuff over there, and then also Twitch, twitch.tv/FreeChinaPost. I've been doing a lot of streaming over there, and then there it's like really easy to interact with us. While I'm streaming, you can be talking to me, and sometimes Ari comes on those streams too. So, in any case, we love you, and we will talk to you quite soon.